Another week in lockdown.
Hello, Nara.
Hello, Australia.
I'm on YouTube.
Germany and Australia are through the week of the first wave infections, and there is some loosening of the restrictions, although still unsure how soon we can get back to normal, to the new normal.
And this new normal will be a normal for ages.
Actually, it's interesting. My son said to me today, because he saw people with masks on outside, and he said, it made me sad to see these people in masks. And I said to him, yeah, it kind of makes me sad as well to see that, because I think that jolts you to think there is still this threat. We have to protect ourselves, protect others. And so there's still this underlying feeling that there's still danger.
Exactly. It feels like you're not safe. This being surrounded by danger all the time.
And you know, I came across this cartoon recently. It's a very famous Australian cartoonist and maybe not so well known in Europe, but his name's Michael Leunig, and he publishes a cartoon in the major newspapers here. And I really just found like it honed in and expressed exactly the feeling, particularly what I'm feeling at the moment.
Our lives are in danger. We're in a lockdown.
Life is always dangerous. We were never free.
Yeah.
The duck is actually doing a technique that we use in a lot of psychological counselling or even in coaching situations of cognitive reframing.
Tell me more about the reframing thing.
It's a psychological technique, which is essentially a process by which our thoughts and beliefs are challenged and then changed. This was developed in the 1960s, and particularly by a practitioner called Aaron T. Beck. And he really honed in on this sort of negative thinking and the negative spirals and in your mind, and how that does actually trigger more anxiety, and worked out ways where you can address those negative thoughts and turn them into more positive. So I like to think of cognitive reframing somewhat like you put a different lens on a situation. Actually, with a camera, you know, with your camera lenses, and you can zoom in or zoom out or put a wide lens. Yeah. When you change the lens, you actually see the situation from a different perspective, and it triggers different thinking in your mind. Essentially, you first have to be able to tune into your thoughts. So in that situation too, I would be saying, what am I saying to myself right now? What is my fear?
This situation in the supermarket, it drives me crazy very often.
Mm-hmm. And you're not the only one. You're not the only one. I've had friends say exactly the same thing to me. It's the whole situation in the supermarket's changed. There's different rules and where you have to stand and how you check out, and we don't want money, we want the card. And they are feeling, and one of them told me too, she really almost flipped out in the supermarket and never done that before, and was so overwhelmed and thought, oh, what's happening to me? But what I'd come back to you to say, what thoughts are going through your head when you're in that situation?
I am not safe.
Mm-hmm. It's good when you've got thoughts, is to actually say them out loud like you're doing now. That would be one step in the process, I would say, to tuning into your thoughts. Say it out loud. Now that you've said that out loud, I'm not safe, how accurate do you think this is? So I'm going into the phase 2 of the model, and it says I'm going to challenge your thinking there. Are you not safe?
I am not safe because it happens in the uncertain situations, in those situations where you don't expect it can happen.
So how might you take that thinking and fear, I'm not safe, people are going to infect me? That's what I'm hearing as the underlying thought. People will infect me. I can't control that.
Yes.
How could you even take that more to the neutral point?
People can infect me, but they probably won't. I mean, there is no certainty about it.
But you've gone now from, I'm fearful all those people there and they're coming too close, they will infect me, to
maybe
they may, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll also go back and challenge your thinking a little bit too, because when you pass by someone even less than 1.5 meters for a very short space of time, and you don't physically touch them, and you're both wearing a mask, the likelihood of infection is absolutely minuscule.
Okay, it's like feeling better.
Okay, good.
Indeed, yeah. You could
Make some progress. So coming back to you though now, standing in the supermarket and walking through, needing to do your business and get your groceries, people are coming too close to you. What thought could you replace your danger thought with now?
Even if I have contact to them, that's just a really like a very short contact and nothing is going to happen. There is no certainty, definitely, because it is proven by medicine that you need to have contact for a longer period of time. And because I don't have it, nothing will happen to me.
Very good. Very nice. So you can see how your thinking has shifted now to a place where you're at least comfortable in that environment. I mean, you may still have flips of, emotion coming up or fear, but when they do pop up, I would then say to you, try to catch them in the moment. Like you can feel the body reacting differently. The heart may be beating faster. Maybe you get a bit of a flush in the face. The feelings are coming up. Catch the thought. And the thought might be, oh, they're getting too close. Then if you can replace the thought with something like, but I'll be okay because I'm not touching them, or I'm okay. So like a nice mantra that you can then replace that fearful thought with more of a calming mantra.
Like, I will work it out. It doesn't matter what it is, I will work it out. That's actually my mantra. It makes me feel good. I am not even English, and I'm like, we don't have it in German, finally. You don't have this saying, and I can't say it in a very short way, and I'm like, I'm going to work it out.
I really like that mantra because it's you have power in that. You are taking control in that statement. I will work it out. So I think that's a really, really, really effective kind of self-talk, if you like. And that's another part, I guess, of this cognitive reframing is really when you're hearing this sort of negative self-talk coming on, to then flip it or shift it into more of a positive self-talk, empowering, where you can feel like you have more impact in the situation. I would like also, as a recap, when we talk about this cognitive reframing, there's really the 3 steps within it. And I think if I can leave you with that to keep that in mind, I think it's helpful. So there's a tuning into your thoughts, really always paying attention. What's going on? Why am I feeling like that? Asking yourself these questions and then challenge them. Is this realistic? Is this really a big threat? Is it going to really happen how I think it's going to happen? And the third part is to then replace those thoughts or shift them into a more neutral zone, hopefully more like optimistic in the end as well.
I mean, we can live with it. And I mean, so in this new normal.
Yeah, so I'm going to be the duck right now. The world has always been constantly changing, but I guess it's been a more gradual change. This is just a fairly dramatic change that we're having to cope with. But it's always changing, and humans are exceptionally adaptable. And you can see that coming out already in how quickly humans are adapting to different ways of communicating online, workplaces shifting and pivoting into, almost completely different business models.
It probably sounds very weird, but I am excited what is going to come out of this whole thing, what is going to change, and what ways we are going to come up with, how to live the life, and people will be thinking differently. There are so many things which are so exciting because there is something out there which is going to be great, really.
For sure. Yeah. I agree with you. There's tremendous opportunities. And I think in the whole cycle of this pandemic, where many people are now getting to that point where they can start to envisage the possibilities, and that is again on a more a hopeful path.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts and for the model. It helped a lot. And I must say, I am in a different emotional state now. I must say it helps.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's great.